Yo, JD here, Tyrrell Limits, and as you can see, back with some league racing once again. And this league, WOR, has been quite a while since I've done an upload. I think I can't even remember the last race I uploaded because, to be honest, to be brutally honest, this league has been very, very up and down for me. Started off pretty well with quite a few podiums. I either got a podium or no points. Pretty much like that. But this league is just probably the most competitive league on Xbox right now. That's for sure. And I've just been fairly inconsistent myself. And yeah, it's tough, especially when the day before I don't get to practice, which I know is probably very boring to hear, but it definitely makes a difference. And at the moment, I'm pretty much using this as a data gathering tool for TSR on Friday because I am actually leading that championship. But coming into here, Austria, this track I've had quite a bit of success on in the past in my league racing, but it's a track I also find still very, very difficult. I really can't wait for the future tracks. So we have tracks like Spa, Silverstone, Hungary, Singapore, Suzuka. Those tracks I cannot wait to be a part of. But here, I was definitely struggling with this track. But the banker lap that I did, coming into this session, I was really, really shocked that I was actually on quite a good pace. Considering the prep coming into this, as usual, it was very, very surprising. And I'm actually quite a bit up on this lap so far, setting a purple middle sector at the same time.
So slow.
But yeah, we actually go improve on this lap, currently in P7. I know some people very, very quick around here, and I'll probably try and post a link to championship standings if they have been updated before this race. If not, should be in the description. But it's a 2.5, which is honestly not that bad. To be honest, the esports poll was a 101.9, so I know it's a very short track, but especially with my qualifying, it's never been that great, especially of recently, to be honest. So I was actually quite happy with this. And one of the things of this track is that you can actually go for 2 flying laps in a row. You have enough fuel and ERS. You don't even need to turn off the ERS, and you can just about do 2 laps because the tyres are fairly durable on the softs around here. So it's quite easy to do it, and it's good because you can use 2 laps with 1 set of tyres, so you get double the amount of opportunities really. And since the track is so short, you're going to have about 8 runs. You could potentially do it in a short qualifying session, so you really shouldn't be bottling it. And you can see on this lap, we are slightly up on my 2.5, but coming into this penultimate corner, quite good through there, but it's this last corner that's very difficult, and then I just lost all the time as JKB is just doing a JKB where he puts in an insane time. But coming into here now, I invalidated my final lap on my final set of tyres, or my penultimate lap I get to do. So this is the last lap that I get to do. JKB's gone into the pits because he's already secured pole position. But coming across the line now, this is the final lap that I've got. I'm currently in P8, so it's so close at the moment. And going to this turn 1, we just take it very, very cautiously, and you can see we're losing 600ths of a second and going up to 700ths of a second. So we lost a lot of time going through it. It's an 8 first sector, which is very, very poor. Normally you want to be aiming for a high 6 or something like that, and we're a 10th down on our lap so far, so this is not going well. But sometimes this is a blessing in disguise because you just have to go for it. And now I've decided to send it a little bit, gaining a bit of time on the entry and on the exit, so gaining about 2 to 300ths there. Now going to his fast left, absolutely sending it through here, gaining up so much time. We've actually done a purple middle sector there and getting quite a good exit up here. So we are actually matching our time despite being a 10th down here. Now going to Suscott, really throwing it in and go do the same, leaving nothing on the table. And we are going to improve our lap with a 2.5, and you know, it's always easy said and done. Look how close it is as well. I feel like our setup and pace is good there, but my weakness, I would say, in just driving is just not being committed, especially over a qualifying lap. No, it's easy to be committed when you're down and you have nothing to lose, but you can actually see the weather for the race is going to be wet towards the end. So Yeah, overall P7 in this league in a qualifying position seems to be where I always qualify. It's not actually too bad, and a bit of a confidence boost after that second and third sector, showing that I definitely have it within me in the speed round here. So just trying to get a good start. So we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here, and trying to get a good start, which our starts have been quite good recently, and we get a much better start than BGG smashing next to me. So trying to not make any contact, just going round it outside, and we've actually made up 1 position into P6, so this is an absolutely great start so far, but having to use this EOS all the way up into turn 2, right at the top of this hill, and it's quite a sticky situation here because I can't brake late, otherwise I'm going to hit the Ferrari, and that has given Smasher the room to go around the outside of me. So we gained the position and now we've lost it, so we've just maintained our grid position here. So the key now is just to try and slot in behind these drivers as much as I can, let the race settle down. Out-qualified the championship leader and Antoine as well, so the pace was good. It was just so close in qualifying. Another 10th, I think we would have been the top 3, top 4, but right now I'm just really looking to just settle down in the race, get a good rhythm, because before this I did 0 race laps for this race here, so this is the first time me experiencing a race run current here, which is really not optimal whatsoever. So I'm just trying to settle into the race, and you can see here we're saving our EOS and fuel pretty nicely, and I was just ensuring that I wasn't going to get any stupid track limits and just making sure I had enough power to strike when I really needed to. But coming off this corner, we get a decent exit, but Pinecone isn't that close. But you'll be able to see we're not using the overtake button at all, as the double arrow comes out of nowhere and Pinecone has gone down the inside of myself. He's done this to me before, I think at Zandvoort in WOR, and we're trying to have a drag race going up into this corner. He's using all of his EOS here. I'm going to try and hold this position as much as I can because it's so crucial around this track. I counter oversteer him. Luckily we didn't get any damage, I believe, and he pretty much caught me napping there. No, I didn't expect him to be that far back whilst I had DRS. He must have used a lot of battery power, and no, fair play, it was a good move from him. Just caught me asleep at that moment in time. So we've now been demoted to P8. Coming towards the beginning of lap 5, he goes in slightly deep, and the Ferrari just does a Ferrari there. I don't know what happened to him. He's completely spun off Joe Pedro, I think it was. So now that's put me back to my grid position as Pinecone's got down the inside of BGC Smasher, and no, I think he's quite desperate to make up positions because he is the championship leader with JKB, his nearest rival, out in front. So he's really trying to stick out his elbows because he had, I think, probably a poor qualifying by his standards because he is very, very fast, and he hasn't been able to make the move on BGG Smasher because it is, again, it's so crucial to get track position around this track. But at the moment, you can see by the minimap, JKB has just completely run away with this. He's got some clear out the front, and the grid position or the track position hasn't changed at this point here. But remember, we do have, as I was just listening to Jeff, we do have rain at the end of the race. So Pinecone has actually decided to go for an undercut because he really needs it. And looking back at this race, that is something that I definitely should have done and was thinking about doing, but I just didn't do it for some reason. I really just didn't do it. And I think I'm about to go into the pits this lap, but almost lose the car. So we follow in the next lap because rain will be there for the last 10 minutes. But the thing is, sometimes the game isn't correct. Sometimes it says there's rain and it wouldn't. So if you pitted for mediums now, it would be an absolute disaster for the end of the race. So that was really kind of the reason why I didn't pit earlier for the mediums. But I think it's probably going to work out for Pinecone very, very nicely. As you can see, Pinecone has already gone past, and I think he has made up 2 positions because of that undercut, and you can see how far ahead he actually is. But if anything, the only positive we have is that we have got fresher mediums than him. But looking back at this, I was thinking about doing the undercut, but I was just always a bit tentative about if it was going to rain at the end. But to be honest, in this league, the position I'm in, I think I'm in 5th or 6th still. I should be taking a lot more risks than I need to be. That was a bit understandable if it was TSRL, but in this league, didn't need to do it. But Crescito, who started P2 in qualifying after a very good lap, who's already got a 3-second time penalty, looks to be struggling quite a lot at this point. So he's really, really struggling for the race pace. So I'm trying to get past him as soon as I can, but he is not giving up this by any inch or quarter whatsoever. So again, the track position is so has and I could just sense that he was really, really struggling. But the good thing we have is that our fuel and our ERS has been saved quite nicely throughout this race, and I'm not really too worried about burning my fuel, because I think you could see there it's starting to rain very, very soon in this race. So I'm not worried about draining this fuel, because I will probably save some back once it goes wet again. But coming off this corner, we are pretty much going to do a pine cone, but I think Crescito does sense what I'm trying to do, so he's not really going defensive, so I'm going to try and outbrake him at the top of this hill, not making any contact at this point, trying to out-traction him, get on the DRS, then get on the overtake, and then just put it into the absolute max settings as I can. But coming into this corner, he brakes very, very early, really, really early, and that has pushed him out wide. I just decided to use the overtake to get past him, and we had a bit of a discussion after the race, and yeah, I didn't mean to hit him because he just pitted very, very early. But he said, to be honest, he just didn't have the pace. And if he was going to fight it into that double left-hand corner, I would have just let him go again. But he seemed not to fight it whatsoever. So he was quite happy to settle in behind me, despite a little bit of contact. But now we've come across LVA Brown, who I think qualified P3. He's on the hard tyres. So I think he's definitely made the wrong choice after the pit stop, so we're going to go down the inside of him. So we are making positions up actually quite nicely at this stage, and Pinecone isn't even that far ahead, because I think our race speed is actually, other than the soft stint, I think in the mediums it's actually quite good at this point in the race here, as SSR Roberts is now going out wide. I don't know if he is actually pitted yet, so I think he might be on very, very old mediums at this point in the race, so I think he's definitely going to be struggling a little bit for the grip. But BGG Smasher is not far ahead, and then the train for the top 4, top 5 is not even far ahead as well. So if we can just continue this pace and get past people as quick as we can, then we actually have a chance of quite a good result in this race, as SSR Roberts goes out wide, and I don't think he's going to make this too difficult. So managed to get past him pretty quickly. But now this is a very, very important lap which we're going to stay on board on. It is that BGG Smashers 1.5 seconds ahead, with Jonas and Pinecone trading positions, with Jonas actually having a penalty. It's crucial that if I have any race speed now, that I use it to get in the DRS zone of BGG Smasher. And you can see we're about 2.7 behind Pinecone. I know this lap is so important, and yeah, as I was saying, at this point in the race, I was feeling really, really good with the speed, because you can see we actually are gaining time, quite a bit of time, on the guys up ahead, and we're only about 1.2 seconds away from Smasher now, so making up about 3 tenths so far in this lap, without the aid of the DRS, but purely just deploying this battery, because it's just so critical that I get in this DRS zone. So the gap to Pinecone is 2.5, now it's 1.1, now it's 1 second. And now it's crucial. If I can get the DRS zone on the exit of this corner, and you'll be able to look at the delta on the top left, we have just made it under a second, which means we should get the DRS zone off this turn 1, and we do get the DRS zone. And that lap was absolutely critical, because now we can actually save the battery. We're out of threat from behind, and we have a chance of getting some good points. But you can see the track is starting to get more and more slippery as the rain really is starting to fall. Clenzo, I think it's the same as SSR Boberts, who stayed out on these medium tyres, so it should be quite an easy pass on him. So again, we're making up positions quite nicely, and the gap to Pinecone is only 2.4 now, and we've managed to actually save up quite a lot of ERS whilst we're sitting behind Smasher. So despite not pitting early, the race speed in the next part of the race has actually been very, very promising at this stage here. So we're just going to sit behind BGG Smasher. So I'm not sure if someone pitted there, But you can see the rain really is starting to come down now, and I thought that it's going to be very, very hard to overtake in the wet conditions, so I really wanted to get past Smasher before we pit for the wets, and doing what Pinecone pretty much did on me, to be honest. Caught him napping, I think, just a little bit, as the DRS is still activated, so that should protect us from a threat from behind. And you can see Pinecone's only 1.6 seconds ahead now, and no, the pace has been so strong on these medium set of tyres. No, the race pace is always really good. It's just, I think I really need to start addressing the qualifying, just to be a bit more aggressive in the qualifying and committed, because if I did, then I think we could be very strong on most occasions. So coming into the pits now, deciding to learn from my lesson in the first stint, I've actually decided to go for an undercut, whereas Pinecone and Smasher I think have continued. I thought I've got nothing to lose this race, and it's going to be so hard to overtake in the wet conditions. No, actually learn something from my driving and go for this undercut, because although the DRS is actually still enabled at this point, I just felt like the track was definitely getting far too slippery. As we almost go into the wall on the exit here, that pit lane exit's absolutely horrible, and you can see we have got the DRS, and again it's really crucial that we get a very good in lap here. But the tyres straight away actually felt really good, so we've managed to actually catch up to Oxtez. Let's see where Pinecone and Smasher and Brown and all those guys are, and I think we have definitely got a little bit of an undercut on these guys. And looking at Smasher, he is quite a way behind, so I think it was definitely the right decision to go early on these tyres. And if only we did that for the mediums, because then we could have been right up there, even in the top 3 I think, potentially otherwise. But you can see Pinecone's pitted now, and I'm very surprised that he's gone very late, because he's the championship leader, as we've come out just behind Jonas as well. So definitely proving that the undercut was the right call. Pinecone is 1.5 seconds behind here, and again, I'm very surprised, especially since he's got a penalty, that he didn't go for this undercut like he did in the first stint. So pretty much a roles reversal, and we've got the position back on him as well, which is good. When Jonas has 6 seconds of penalty, so unless he can get past Oxtez, all we have to do is really stick with him. But coming onto the penultimate lap of this race, honestly, it's so hard to overtake in these conditions. Nothing really changed too much, but Pinecone, this is the only time he really got a good run on me, because I knew I couldn't get past Jonas, so I'm just trying to defend my position here. So he's thinking about going for a move here, but again, by this new HUD you can see on the left hand side, he knows that I don't have a penalty, so maybe he'll try and force me into one. But I think I only have one warning at this stage in the race, and now to be in P6 with a guy with a penalty in front, of course you want to win on track, but considering the start and the strategy we did at the beginning of the race, and I'm really happy with the actual medium stint in terms of pace. It really surprised me, and it's definitely given me a lot more confidence. If I could just start higher in this league, then I feel we can be fighting for wins at this point. But coming into the last lap of the race, Pinecone I don't think is really going to be putting me under more pressure. It's getting a little bit scrappy up front as JKB crosses the line by a mile, so GG to him. And coming into this final corner, Oxtez does not have a penalty, so this could be for position. They are going side by side. Jonas has 9 seconds. We try and get a good run off this corner as Pinecone's trying to get me as well. Coming across the line, it is P5, and
P5.
Honestly, after the run of races that I have had, especially in this league, I was actually quite satisfied with that. Obviously I want to be winning races and getting on the podium and everything, but considering my run of form and of recent, then yeah, I can't really complain about that too much. And especially that I didn't really have any time to prepare for this. I was actually quite pleasantly surprised of my pace for that. So as always, thank you so much for the support of my channel. It means the absolute world to me, especially in the good and the bad moments. It really does help me, and I definitely feel luck is starting to swing my way again from the F1 god. So thank you so much. Hope you keep enjoying the channel. Make sure you join my Discord, which so many of you have, where you can interact with me. That is absolutely awesome. But as always, thank you so much, and I will catch you soon. Peace.